everybody for showing up today. A lot of people have had some surprise looks when I remind you that this session is only 18 minutes long. So the good news is you're going to get a lot of information in 18 minutes, and then you'll get to cut out of here and do whatever you want. But in order to make this 18 minutes efficient, I want to give you what you want. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I plan to tell you, and if that's not what you want, I can talk about any of this any way that you want, but I want it to help you. So first, if you could raise your hand and if you use social media for your business. Fantastic. Raise your hand if you feel like you could be more efficient. Awesome. Now raise your hand if you currently spend like 10 minutes a day. An hour a day. How about you commit to it full time, you'll give it everything you've got, as much time as you have? Okay, great. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is I want to tell you some tips on if you plan to use social media for 10 minutes a day, kind of how to maximize that. If you want to use it an hour a day, how to maximize that. And then if you want to use it full time, maybe some things of how you can set yourself apart. Does that sound like something you want to hear? Okay. So the first thing I want to start with is just some basic kind of housekeeping with social media to make sure we're all on the same page and make sure that you've kind of got your head in the right place and your expectations in the right place. So first and most importantly, you're going to get out of social media what you put in. So if you put in 10 minutes a day, you're going to get out about 10 minutes worth. And with social media, if you think about social media like a relationship, or if you think about social media like sex with your partner, spouse, everybody looked up, I have your attention now, then everything will make more sense. So if you can relate that back to relationships, then anytime you have a question, you don't have to call me, you just have to think, what makes a relationship successful? What makes me get what I want out of that relationship? And you can translate that to social media. Because social media is not about selling, it's about creating conversations, and those conversations turn into relationships. So if you think about how much time you put into a conversation or into a relationship, and think about the things that you get out of that, even a best friend relationship, then that'll get you in the right mindset for what you're going to get out of social media. The other tip I'll tell you is if you are going to do something with social media, I would rather you just do what you can do well rather than trying to do everything. So rather than trying to set up, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, a blog, this, and this, if you're not going to put a lot of time into it, it's better to spend all of your time, no matter how much that is, on one tool. Do that really well, own that, be the best that you can be, but just manage one tool. Now, for those of you that want to spend a lot of time on Facebook, social media, and you want to get everything that you can out of it, same rule applies. Get on as many sites as you can, but do it well. The more sites you're on, the different types of personalities you're going to reach. So some people like video, some people like pictures, some people like words. But if you're on a lot of those mediums, then you're going to get across to all of those people. Make sense? Content is king. If you're going to spend your time, a little bit of time or a lot of time, I would rather you post one amazing thing a week than 3 things that are kind of eh. So if you're not motivated and you're not feeling it and it doesn't feel right to you, just like a relationship, if it doesn't feel right on that date, if it doesn't feel right talking to your spouse, don't say it. I'd rather you wait and say the right thing. Before you decide to start any of this or before you continue with what you're doing, know your goals. You have to know what you want out of the relationship or out of your social media before you can use it effectively. So if you feel like you could be a little bit more efficient, make sure you know what you want out of this. Do you want more conversations? Do you want more visibility? Do you want more traffic? Do you want to ask questions to find out what your audience wants and needs? So think about what you want out of it and then use your time to accordingly to get that out of it. I'm going to stop there for a second. Another very, very, very important thing with social media is if you're going to be successful and you want to be like the rock star maybe that you see or like your competitor or anybody that you see that you think's amazing, they spend a lot of time and sometimes a lot of money, depending if they use ads and campaigns and things like that, but it takes a lot of time. So again, think about a relationship. So if you put a lot of time into a relationship, don't you get more out of it, what you need? So think about those things. To be more efficient, just like in life and everything else, the more organized you are, the better you're going to be. The more you use your resources, the better off you're going to be. So how many of you have employees or contractors or people that you work with? Great. So for those of you that do, I encourage you to use the people that are around you, especially say you're the boss and you have some employees that they're the ones that are talking to customers, or they're the ones that are the interface on the website. Let them tell you what their struggles are. Let them tell you what works and what doesn't work, and you flip that around into your content. Because if you have a question, so say you get the same question over and over and over every single time from a customer, or say you've gotten the same question 10 times, and you think, how could these customers be so stupid? How do they not know? Take that and flip it around. Flip it around and turn that into an educational post. If one person has that question, I guarantee you 100 other people have that question. So flip it around, take that negativity and turn it into something positive, because once it's out there on social media, it's always out there. It's out there for your customer to find it when they want it, not when you decided to post. So again, the more time you put into that, the more content, the more quality content you put out, really kind of the less you have to work. So you put all this stuff out there, and then at 3 o'clock in the morning, people are finding your blog post, or people are checking out LinkedIn, or they're finding your tweet, and you're sleeping, or you're selling, or you're paying the bills, or you're doing whatever you have to do for your business. So the more you put out, the more efficient it can be for you. If you are trying to be more efficient with your organization and your content, you can use sites like Hootsuite. You can use sites like Sharist. You can use analytic sites to think about what you're doing. You take your analytic sites like Passive Metrics, which we have right here, and Sprout Social and things like that. Look at your Facebook insights. See what's effective. See what people like. See what posts you get the most engagement out of. See what you get the most likes out of. And then think about why they liked it. Was it the time of day? Was it the type of content? Was it an image? And then if you'll spend your time doing more things like that, then you're going to get more results out of it, and you're going to be, it's a more efficient process if you're giving people what they want. So think about tools and things like that. And I hesitate to start this with 18 minutes, but I really want to give you what you want. So does anybody have something they're dying to get more time management info on? Okay. The other thing I want to tell you is anybody that is interested in a calendar, I've built a calendar that shows you if you're going to do what you're going to do every day. So for example, if you're going to spend an hour a day doing social media and you want to maximize that and do it the right way, I've got it broken down to spend 10 minutes on creating your content, then spend 10 minutes in the morning on comment moderation, plan to spend 10 minutes at the end of the day on comment moderation. And the reason that's important is if somebody has a burning question and maybe your website isn't as friendly as it could be for asking questions, people are going to run to your Facebook page. People are going to run to Twitter and ask what they want to know. They're dying to get that information. The faster you answer them, the less likely they are to go to somebody else. So if you're only going to spend 10 minutes a day, then definitely by all means moderate your comments within 24 hours. But if you want to be a hero for just 10 little itty bitty minutes more, then do it in the PM as well. And if any of you are thinking, well, I don't really have time for that, and it takes up too much time, I'm a big fan of, you all look smart and you're all attractive, so I'm pretty sure that you can multitask. Put a cup of coffee in one hand and type with the other. If you're going to spend 15 minutes on a cup of coffee, win-win. Drink your coffee, respond to your comments. And again, if you can, do it when you're in a good mood. So people can tell if you're only communicating with somebody via 140 characters or a Facebook post or an image or whatever it is, if you're not feeling it, they're not going to be feeling it either. So when you're inspired, and that's another tip, when you're inspired, write stuff down. Sites like Sharist or Hootsuite, you get a great idea, you dump the idea in there, you come back to it when you can. If you get fired up over a bottle of wine one day and you've got 15 great ideas, I don't care how you write them down. Write them down on a piece of notebook paper, email it to yourself, whatever you got to do. But when you're feeling creative, go ahead and get all of that stuff somewhere so that you can either pre-schedule it or deal with it later. And sidebar, if you decide to schedule things in the future, but you're one of those people that wants to spend 10, 15 minutes up to an hour a day, don't forget about the things that you pre-schedule. So if you pre-schedule something because you get fired up, and you get everything in there and everything's ready to go, don't forget, like, what if there's a natural disaster? What if, a bus full of school children is all over the news, and then you post something all happy and shiny like, buy my product? That's not going to go over well. So if you do decide to get in that efficient mode, then don't forget that you have to go back and pay attention to when that stuff goes out. So I just got the 5-minute warning card. I'm going to give you one more chance. Anybody dying to know anything? Good? Okay. So another tip is, just because a tool like Facebook is the most popular and it has the most people, maybe that's not the best tool for you. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you should get on, because that's where the most people are. If you're going to spend your time on one site or 2 sites or 3 sites, and say you sell a product like, I don't know, aprons, wine, anything that is attractive and is photo worthy, maybe you want to spend more of your time on Instagram versus a blog or something else like that. So think about what your audience wants, what you have, what you can give them, and the tool that you can use to give it to them most efficiently. Because, so for example, the fastest growing demographic on Facebook, women ages 55 to 65. Actually, it's just people in general ages 55 to 65 right now. If that's not your audience, and say you're selling something that's, that you want to get in your place and make the mark for 20-year-olds, get on Instagram now. I'm going to say stay on Instagram. I'm not going to say get on Vine, because I think that's going to go away when everybody spends all their time on Instagram. But spend your time on YouTube. Spend your time where your audience is. And I think you'll be more successful. Also, if you're one of those people that you want to do as much as you can, but you also want to do it quickly, please, 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 even if you take as much time as you did to write the content, please use spell check. It's really important, because you can, if you decide that you're going to do 1 post a week, but it's going to be a really stellar post, you just undid the whole thing by not using spell check. So slow down a little bit, and you'll be, please do that, and just do it. So again, to wrap all of this up, honestly, if you will go home and think about relationships, think about what makes a relationship successful, you're going to find that it's the more time you spend, the more quality time you spend, the less you talk about yourself, the more you ask about the other person. If you, for example, and the other tip is, don't tell your people what to do. So for example, if my husband told me to go to the mall and I could have anything I wanted but red shoes, what do you think is going to happen? I'm coming home with a truck full of red shoes. So if your audience, especially if your audience is women, don't tell them what to do. Plant the seed, be inspiring. They can make their own decisions. You don't have to tell people what to do. And a lot of times when you get in efficient mode and you think about social media, with Twitter, you only have 140 characters to say what you have to say. And if you were raised in a sales world, you're supposed to ask for the sale. So logically, you're going to ask for the sale in 140 characters. That's the most damaging thing that you can do. Let people get to know you as a person if you're a business owner. Let people feel like your brand is human. Give free, helpful advice with no strings attached. Post pictures. Help people see why they should pick you over anybody else, but let it be their decision. Every once in a while, you can encourage them with something that, a call to action, but don't do that every time. You want, again, back to relationships. If a guy walks up to a woman in a bar and he uses his 140 characters to get their attention, if he says, we're going to have sex tonight, how likely do you think that's going to be to happen? You got to have a conversation. You got to get to know them. You got to spend the time. So the more time you put in, the more you're going to get out. Everybody on the same page? How am I doing on time? Like 1 minute? Okay. Any questions? Burning questions? So anybody that would like the calendar that has what you should do every day, I'll send you that, and then I'll also send you all of the notes of everything I just told you, because I am talking like I'm right from the South, and I just threw a lot of information at you in a short period of time. I'm happy to share anything that you want. Please just email me and ask, and I'm happy to share it with you. So thank you for your attention and your time.